This is Dan Farisi, Group Editor, Commercial and Security with Emerald. So happy to be joined today by Brandon White, who is Director of Product Development with Vanco International. Topic of conversation is, of course, AV over IP, aligning with our AV over IP deep dive, which will be all over commercialintegrator.com throughout the month, as well as in the May issue of CI plus SSI. Vanco is one of the sponsors of that presentation, provided a nice thought leadership piece within the deep dive. And of course, we wanted to invite Brandon on to share some of his insights firsthand about the AV over IP category. Thank you so much, Brandon, for joining us here today. Really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you very much, Dan, for having me. Always a pleasure talking to you.
So let's get right into it. Vanco broke into the AV over IP category about 6 years ago, if memory serves. You want to talk a little bit about the impetus for doing that, some of the evolution you've seen along the way?
Yeah, like you said, we've actually had AV over IP for about 6 years now. I personally have worked with it for over 10 years at this point. It's a great solution to have, but it definitely had a rocky start and definitely had a bit of growing pains along the way. Part of it, I think, was the market trying to get into the networking side of it more. Um, some installers definitely, I think, had a hard time with that, either by choice or otherwise. They didn't really have the background, the education, or sometimes maybe they just didn't have the opportunity that came up, to be honest with you. So I think that really kind of was hindrance in a little bit. I think in terms of the chipsets that were out there, there was some hiccups and there was a lot of guessing and checking along the way, so to speak. And I know that's absolutely, as former installer, that's an absolute nightmare. No one wants to be a guinea pig, but at the same time, there was a lot going on with these new types of chipsets. We see more now. They've come an absolute long way in terms of the QC process, in terms of the development process, and I think that's why we're seeing it really grow and really be at the forefront of the AV industry as a whole, which is absolutely fantastic. But there's not to say that there were certainly bumps along the way.
There's no doubt about it, and that prescience certainly bore out. Of course, there are going to be growing pains in any market. That goes without saying. But it seems to me, at least as an outside observer, that Vanco's experiences have kind of helped you shape and develop the product and category further, leading ultimately to the Evo IP 2.0. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I'm a firm believer that a stagnant mind is a wasted mind. We've learned quite a bit, certainly, to be able to see what we could do to maximize the potential of the Evo IP 1.0 and other products for our customers. A great example of this for Evo IP 1.0, we often created custom firmware based on, you know, requests and requirements that our installers needed to have out in the field. When we found out that many of them requested a 1080p only cost-effective solution, we created our Evo IP Lite system. So we took all the feedback that we had from our customers over the years, certainly, what we've seen in the market, and that's what we really added to our Evo IP 2.0 design. Dante ready, so easy to integrate within other Dante ready products. Um, Dolby down mixing, so that really helps not only in the commercial side because there's a lot more streaming, especially in bars and restaurants and hospitality um, taking place, um, as well as in residential, obviously. Um, we also have EARC, ARC. We have different methods of connecting, so you do it over copper or fiber because we had a lot of situations where we needed to go between buildings, for example, or farther distances. For example, one came up in terms of a professional team practice facility. Their practice fields were a distance away, so they needed to have fiber solutions. So lots of these types of features, having full K, 60 hertz, in and out, the video wall capabilities, and of course, one thing that's really great about the Evo IP platform in general is having a nice, simple built-in digital signage player. So you can have digital signage built right in with your audio video distribution system. So all this feedback, everything that we've learned with our first platforms will continue with those as well as through our Evo IP 2.0 platform.
Really what it's all about, right, Brandon? I mean, it's kind of a three-legged stool. You have to have those really rich features, those impressive specs. It has to be value-minded, especially with economic turmoil going on, but it also has to be intuitive and easy to use. And missing any one of those legs, you're not going to get the same kind of market penetration that you otherwise would.
Absolutely. From the time that I was an installer, Over the last 10 years that I've been working at Vanco, it's all about creating that value for our customers and their customers as well. Um, Going back to the Hippo days, you used to always say it's just about making dreams come true.
Closing thoughts, Brandon, before we wrap up about AV over IP as a category, its continued ascendance, Vanco's leadership within it. Anything you'd like to share with our audience?
We're just super excited to show off our AVoIP 2.0 system here in the US. We brought it with us over to ISE Europe in February. Had some great feedback and responses about it. Won an award over there. So, at first glance, so far so good. Looking forward to demonstrating it over at InfoComm coming up next month in June. Just really showing off the value that the product can bring for our customers and their customers, the specs, the features, and then really the ease of use of the system as a whole. So really excited to see how we can impact the market with our EVoIP 2.0 system.
It's true. It has been a fascinating journey, and the journey is just continuing on from here. Excited to see you at InfoComm coming up and the latest evolutions from Vanco. Thank you so much, Brandon White, Director of Product Development from Vanco International, for joining me today. Really appreciate it.
As always, thank you very much for your time, and certainly looking forward to meeting up and seeing you again at InfoComm.
My name is Dan Farisi, Group Editor, Commercial and Security with Emerald. Please do keep your eye on commercialintegrator.com throughout the month of May as we spotlight AV over IP and our AV over IP deep dive, which you can also find in the May issue of CI plus SSI. We're going to be having lots of these thought leader focused interviews, just like with the industry experts like Brandon, in the days and weeks ahead. Thank you again for tuning in, and we will see you next time.